It's been a staple of
Yeah.
the Expo for a long, long time. I've always been under the philosophy of I didn't want to win because that would look bad, if the boss won.
Welcome to the State of the Industry podcast with John Elliott, a third-generation transportation professional, immediate past chairman of the Truckload Carriers Association, vice president of the American Trucking Associations, and founder and CEO of Loadone. And me, your host, Brandon Baxter. We've spent more than 2 decades in the industry. We've experienced driver shortages, truck shortages, recessions, financial constraints, technological advancements, and legislation. Yeah, we've seen it all. This is trucking news for the drivers and professionals on the ground. This is opinion and insight from the inside. This is the State of the Industry podcast. Welcome to the State of the Industry podcast with John Elliott. I'm your host, Brandon Baxter. And this is a monthly series that's dedicated to discussions pertaining to the trucking industry and featuring commentary by the CEO of Loadone and immediate past chairman of TCA, John Elliott. John, thanks so much for joining me on this, our brief pre-Expo edition podcast. How are you today?
Doing great this morning. Doing great.
Awesome. Well, good. As you know, we were just discussing off camera here. We're only a few weeks away from the 2023 Expedite Expo. It's going to be held July 21st and 22nd in tropical Fort Wayne, Indiana. I know. I hope you got your swimmies ready.
Pretty excited.
Well, let's jump right into it then, John, and let's spend a little bit of time talking about, what the Expo really does for its attendees and exhibitors, specifically in the idea of networking and education.
I think it's probably the only event in the industry that is, well, it's the only one that's focused on the expedite industry, really. And you look at it brings together a diverse group of people, vendors, suppliers, drivers, carriers, and that, and really creates a lot of opportunity for networking, idea sharing. There's a lot of educational sessions, great Q&A sessions. You get to listen to people who've got experience in the industry, different vendors talking about everything from, let's say, insurance and how to best manage that, how to manage your maintenance expenses and risks. Selecting a carrier, understanding the industry better. I mean, just all over the map. It's a great variety of things and just a lot of opportunities for new owner operators or new drivers and old alike to, learn and grow.
Yep. And you hit on that right there, just the idea of education. And for example, the Trucking 101 session that's being offered this year, specifically tailored towards, new drivers or individuals who might be getting into trucking or expedite trucking specifically for the first time. Talk a little bit about that.
I think there's not really a great source out there to learn education and learn on this business. And I think, a lot of people do Google the internet and look at Facebook, and that can be a real mix of information, good or bad. And that, I think, when you go to a session like that, they're well moderated. You've got a lot of people in the audience asking questions and that. So you get a good dialogue. I think if somebody's wrong, they're called out pretty quick, or, debate sometimes happens because there's more than one view to look at every situation and that. And I think what's interesting is the amount of education that goes on in the workshop, but the amount of discussion and education that goes on after, when people are like, hey, are networking right after that and talking about topics. And so you asked this question, and I have questions about that too. Or did you find this to be true? Or did you have this problem? Or how did you overcome this? That kind of thing. And I think that's really where the real value is to a driver.
Oh, I certainly agree with that. And to kind of piggyback off of that, a lot of what I would refer to as constructive conversations. I mean, you pointed out, obviously, people are going to have differing opinions on certain things or different ideas. Doesn't necessarily mean somebody's wrong. It just means that might be a way that they perceive things when they're out there on the road, whether it's as a sprinter owner operator or a husband and wife straight truck team.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've never seen anything more than a pretty positive collaboration in that. I mean, like you said, not everyone's going to agree, but I think it sometimes you appreciate the other perspective more once you understand it, even if you don't agree with it essentially, and you understand better where that person's coming from, their views on the industry, how to operate their truck, and that you might say, that's not how I operate mine. Well, that's why not everyone's going to be as successful.
That's true.
What works for one does not work for the next one. So, again, it's all about learning different things, seeing different ways to accomplish things, and having options and learning. It's all education.
Yeah. And on top of that, and really one of the draws year over year is really the Saturday morning panel, of which you are typically involved in as one of our guests. And this year it's on the future of trucking. I know we've talked about this in a couple of recent podcasts, but one more time, John, just for the sake of those who may be watching or listening for the first time, let's talk a little bit about the future of trucking panel and really what you bring out of that once you get involved.
Oh, I have no idea. I'm kidding. It's a crazy time in our industry. So I think panels like this become even more relevant when you have a lot of turmoil and things. And, the things I would say today may not be the things that I would say on that panel at that time. The news changes every day. Economic factors change every day. I just read, Powell's, comments from the Fed that said, they may look at another 0.5 point interest rate increase for the end of the year.
Right.
If you had asked me 4 weeks ago, I thought we were done for the year, and possibly even to give back. So, it's very much a time where I think people want to stay in tune with what's going on and understand and stay updated. So I think it's a great panel for that. It's normally a diverse group of speakers and that, year after year. So I think this year it's going to be even more relevant to a lot of people than what it is other years.
Well, then buckle up and be ready for, I'm sure, quite the question asking session at the end of that panel, right?
Yeah, I would anticipate a lot of Q&A time and people thinking I'm going to have miracle answers, but we're going to give our best shot to try to share what knowledge I have, it's not even so much, it's the knowledge or perspective I bring from the other side of the desk. Absolutely.
And I think over the years, people have grown to appreciate that, no matter who's sitting up there, it's, as you've said before, it's sharing information, and that's the important part. And
for sure. And it's also a good time.
Absolutely. Speaking of a good time, and that's the perfect segue. Friday night is the always popular casino night. A lot of fun, a lot of games, prizes. Anything you want to share about your time at casino night? Have you been a high roller, big winner?
I have not. I'm normally there. It's been a staple of the expo for a long time. I've always been under the philosophy of I didn't want to win because that would look bad. If the boss won. I kind of feel like the prizes and all that really are for the drivers and owner operators. So
of course.
Yeah, so I prefer to hand out some drink tickets and watch the fun go on and just converse and network with people and things like that. But it's definitely a good time. It's nice to be able to watch the drivers and owner operators just get to relax a little bit, enjoy together and network and have some fun and that outside of a truck stop or a truck stop parking lot and that, because they don't get to gather or join together at a lot of places, let alone gather and join and then, like I said, network and educate and have fun and, socially network and things like that. So I think a lot of people make friends. I know a lot of relationships have been developed
for sure
out of the expo and lifelong friendships and that for sure.
Well, and of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that, Load One is hosting the Welcome Barbecue on Thursday night. So that when folks arrive, we want to welcome you with some good eats. And we just added, I'm not sure if you're aware yet, John, but a cornhole tournament that we're going to be holding there at the barbecue. Well, okay. get your beanbag tossing arm ready, because I think we're gonna throw together some brackets and we'll have some prizes.
We have a guy in our company who's like semi-pro league with that. I mean, it's like he travels serious.
Okay,
bring him. But the barbecue is always a good time. I think I like the idea they moved it from the end to the beginning as kickoff, which is nice because a lot of times people at the end need to get back home, need to get on the road, or they got loads. So they need to get rolling. So I think scheduling wise, logistic wise, this is going to be a good improvement for the expo. And again, we're looking forward to it, and we're happy to be the kickoff sponsor.
Hey, sorry to interrupt your podcast listening. Okay, actually, I'm not sorry. I honestly wanted to interrupt for just a couple moments and talk to you about John Elliott and Loadone. Okay, look, John and I have known each other for years. We've worked together in some capacity over that frame of time. But honestly, right now, having the opportunity to host this podcast with him has been fantastic. And what's fantastic for you, the driver, the owner-operator, is an opportunity at Loadone. That's right. This is an ad spot for Loadone. They're currently recruiting for owner-operators. So if you've got a straight truck, you've got a tractor, you are a team, maybe you've got a sprinter, you want to run Expedite, you want to run truckload, get in now. Get in while the getting's good here, because Loadone's got great benefits that they offer you. Layover pay, paid moves. They've got a wonderful driver's lounge tailored specifically to the driver, and all you have to do is go to their website. It's load1.com. That's one.com. Or you can apply directly at Expeditors Online, or go to justcdljobs.com. They've got their stuff plastered all over there. You click on the link, you fill out the application, and I promise you, driving with Loadone is going to be the best decision that you've ever made. All right, now back to the podcast.
I would be remiss to mention I met you many years ago at Expo friend. There's a lifelong relationship I didn't anticipate.
I mean, 15 years and going, John. It feels like yesterday, but the fact that it's still going, you've made that point time and again. And I mean, gosh, back then I was a recruiter for Panther. I was marched over to your booth over there at Loadone, shook hands for the first time, and it's all downhill since then.
Yeah, life's full of give and takes.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Well, on top of that, John, finally, we will be recording a live fireside chat, if you will, episode of our next State of the Industry podcast. You and I will be doing it live and in your booth at the expo on Friday afternoon. So I know that you and I are excited to give that a try. A lot of magic is made behind the scenes when we're recording, but we're going to be doing it live.
Yeah, it should be fun, and hopefully another interesting addition to the expo as it continues to grow and develop.
Absolutely, and hopefully we'll have some some interactions with some folks that are going to be gathered around, watching us do our thing, waiting to see us fumble and pick up the ball and then run with it again. So it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
That's fair. I'm interested to see how you handle the pressure of having people there.
I'm pretty sure I can handle that. Last year I tied my hair back. This year I'll just brush it. We'll be good and ready to go.
Sounds good. This looks like this every day. So that's
well, then folks know what they're getting into. No excuses now. So, well, John, anything else? Again, I know this is just kind of a quick little jump in. We're going to talk about the expo. Anything else you want to throw out there before we reconvene in about 4 weeks' time in Fort Wayne?
Really. I mean, you go online to the expo and Google it up there. I'm sure you'll give the website at the end. I know you can register in advance, have your name tag set.
Yep.
I'd love to have you stop by the Loadone booth and meet everyone. We're right up, right when you come through the front doors, you run right into us, so you can't miss us.
Going to be really hard to miss, that's for sure. Well, awesome, John. We're a month away. Looking forward to seeing you again in person. We'll do another handshake. Been 15 years, and it's been my pleasure to host the show with you.
Sounds great. Thanks, Brandon.
You got it. We'll see you soon. And for those of you who are going to be coming to the expo, we're looking forward to you sitting in on the next State of the Industry podcast. Join us again. I've been your host, Brandon Baxter. Next time, John and I will continue the discussion, all topics transportation. And don't forget to check out ExpeditersOnline.com and JustCDLJobs.com for access to over 150 carriers who are actively hiring, including Loadone. Until next time, this has been the State of the Industry podcast with John Elliott. For more information on Loadone and how to apply for one of their posted job opportunities, go to load1.com. That's load1.com. And as always, be sure to check out our show notes for more information regarding Loadone, Expeditors Online, JustCDLJobs.com, and any other tidbits that were mentioned during our show. Until next time.